Why has the U.S. not hit back yet over drone strike that killed soldiers in Jordan?
A deadly drone strike on a U.S. military base in Jordan has left U.S. President Joe Biden with a difficult decision about. Concerns have been growing over the spread of violence across the Middle East, linked to Israel's war on Hamas in Gaza. That conflict was triggered by an attack by Hamas inside Israel in which around 1,200 people were killed and another 240 taken hostage. Hamas are allied to Iran, and other Tehran-supported groups have launched strikes and linked it to the situation in Gaza, where health officials in the Hamas-controlled territory say more than 26,000 people have been killed. Sunday's drone strike was the most serious of more than 160 aerial assaults by Iran-backed militias in Iraq, Syria, and now Jordan on U.S. forces across the region since October. The attack, carried out on Sunday, hit a base called Tower 22 where dozens of U.S. soldiers were sleeping in bunks. 3 soldiers were killed, the first U.S. personnel since the attacks began, and more than 40 injured. Kataib Hezbollah, the armed faction of the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, an Iran-backed group, claimed the strike. Mr. Biden has said he has made a decision on how to respond, but has offered no details. The Independent looks at why the U.S. is yet to hit back, the options available to them, and how far they are willing to go. Why hasn't the U.S. hit back yet? The Biden administration has made it clear it does not want to be dragged into a war with Iran, even if Washington blames them for supplying the weapons used in strikes across the region. They have other issues to focus on, think support for Ukraine against Russia and for Taiwan against China, and do not want a third front. That this is an election year in the U.S. is further disincentive for another war in the Middle East. It is less than 3 years since Mr. Biden finally withdrew U.S. forces from Afghanistan after a 20-year war against al-Qaeda and then its Taliban protectors. That war wasn't popular then. Another war in the Middle East would not be popular now. Nonetheless, when U.S. soldiers are killed, a response is necessary. Addressing this week the deadly strikes on the Jordan base, Pentagon spokesperson Pat Ryder told reporters simply, "There will be consequences." Mr. Biden, then, must balance 3 different objectives. They include deterring Iran and its proxies from launching further attacks and preventing Iran from expanding its influence in the Middle East, all while avoiding a war. What are the options? Again, there are 3 main military options: to hit Iran-backed groups, to hit Iran directly, or to engage in irregular warfare, including cyber attacks or covert operations. The first option, to hit Iran-backed militia forces, is the most likely and the least risky. Kataib Hezbollah has announced since the strike in Jordan that it has suspended attack JS on U.S. forces, but that will have little impact on U.S. decisions on whether to strike their positions. Targeting Kataib Hezbollah would not be difficult, but it risks damaging ties between Washington and Baghdad at a time when Iran is vying for more influence. Dozens of other Iran-backed groups may also be hit, though it is unclear which ones could be targeted. The second option, to hit Iran directly, is less likely and far riskier. However, as previous strikes on Iran-backed militias have failed to have a significant deterrent effect, direct assaults on mainland Iran could be more impactful. Officials across the administration have said the U.S. believes Iran bears responsibility for arming, funding and supporting the militias that have been waging an escalating campaign of drone, missile and rocket strikes on American forces. "I do hold them responsible in a sense because they're supplying the weapons to the people who did it," Mr. Biden said on Tuesday. Striking inside Iran would send a strong, direct message to Tehran.